The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. A woman by the name of Eleanor said that, and I'm saying this. Welcome to High and Low. Good day and good night. Welcome to the High and Low Basketball Show. This is episode number 100 and broke, aka episode number 188. In 2015, Antoine Walker rejoined the franchise that made him an NBA star, an NBA All-Star, Boston Shamrock Gods, the Celtics, or you could just call them the Boston Celtics. He wore the number 8, calling himself employee number 8, which was made famous in that Adidas commercial back in 1998, after being forced to take his talents to Dallas, which basically means he was traded, and then on to Atlanta with mixed results, middling results. He came back to Boston as a shadow of his former self and had to settle for the number 88 because, well, his number was taken. The number 8 was already being used by the new Celtic star, Al Jefferson.
Who the hell is that?
Despite his varied accomplishments in his career, Antoine Walker might be best known for blowing through $108 million of career earnings and going bankrupt.
Whoa. What did you just say to me?
What's your profanity?
As documented in the film Broke from ESPN's 30 for 30 documentary series, hence the title of this episode, respectfully. Anyway, welcome to the show. My name is Ike Amaechi. Around here, we live by a principle governed by the high and low lives of the world, which means we talk about basketball, especially and specifically the NBA. And we talk about it at any time, anywhere, north, south, east, west, high and low. This week, I was on the fence about recording this episode. Everyone's in the middle of festive holiday antics. I have a house full of family, people in every corner and crevice, activities for every hour of the day, every day. So I was so close to just dropping a rerun this week, but it's only right to keep the streak of new episodes going every single Monday. But pardon the brevity and rawness of this installment because I don't have too much time to record this one. I'm just going to be freestyling a bunch of this with minimal notes, and I'm just going to pull up a couple of things just to help me along. As 2023 wraps up, I'm going to share High and Low's version of Wrapped, so I have that information pulled up. Just some interesting facts about who has been listening and what you've been listening to. And I also want to quickly talk about former players in foreign leagues. Pulling up that information right now. Guys who've either made the decision to flee the NBA or guys who've been locked out of the league. So stay tuned for that. Hey, before we lock in, let me check in.
Oh, hi. Thanks for checking in. I'm still a piece of garbage.
And always checking in with you, listeners of the show, high and low lives of the world. Hope you're having a great week, enjoying the holidays with you and yours. Thank you for joining me for a quick installment of this show. Another week, another episode, more NBA, so of course, more high and low. Things are certainly happening in the NBA. You have questions, we have answers, so let's talk about it.
Let's talk about something important.
I come to you bearing a gift. It is in the form of a question, a listener question from Corey in Toronto, Canada. He says this: I'm a simp for Spotify's rap stats. Are you doing a high and low wrapped episode? Okay, so this is where the wrapped information comes in because, of course, Corey sent in the question, and I appreciate your question, Corey. Shout out to you and your folk in Toronto. This is interesting because, I would have loved to dedicate this entire episode to the year that was 2023, but of course, like I said, these are the holidays and everyone is out and about doing their thing. So we will have a look back, like an end of year mailbag episode, an opportunity for us to look back on the year. I'll do that when I'm joined by the other high and low contributors. What I can do is share a few key stats, key facts about our show this past year. I guess this will answer your question, Corey, right? Because I guess you can look at it as a wrapped sort of thing, consider this high and low wrapped. First, we dropped 52 brand new episodes in 2023, including this one. No reruns, all new every single Monday, as I mentioned earlier. The most popular city, the city with the most high and low listeners in 2023 was Toronto, Canada. Not too surprised by that number based on the amount of Raptors talk on this show. Again, this is not a Raptors podcast, and it shouldn't be, because the Raps are not good. They're not a good basketball club. Moving on. Second most popular city was the greater Los Angeles area, including Thousand Oaks, California. Shout out to Bigums. I guess Stephen Leslie's Laker love spoke directly to high and low lives in LA. And the top 5 are rounded up by Frankfurt, Germany. Shout out to Frankfurt. Mississauga, Canada. And Cambridge, Massachusetts. So shout out to Cambridge. And high and low was heard in 32 countries across the world, led of course by Canada, United States of America, Germany, Bulgaria, and Trinidad and Tobago. Man, I would love to do a live show in Trinidad, honestly. Bulgaria, Germany, of course, you too. And the episode you loved the most. I got a list of 5. Let's start with the 5th and work our way up to number 1. Number 5 was The Death of the Flop, Baiting Draymond and a Beard Called James Harden. That was episode number 167, where Mitch and I were joined by King from Parts Unknown to talk about Harden's commitment issues and LeBron's flopping and the early preseason Wemby hype. The 4th most popular episode in 2023 was The Greatest Villains in NBA History and a Hero Named Michael Jordan. That was episode number 140 back on January 23rd, 2023. Actually, I'm not going to say the dates, but yeah, that's when it was. 3rd most was episode number 180, The Illusion of NBA Stardom, Boston Knights, and a guy named Wiggins. I remember that one because I recorded that while in Boston, and I shared a few stories about some run-ins I had with NBA players in the past. 2nd most was back in March, episode number 147, The Starting Game, the AI NBA podcaster and a joker named Jokic. That's where I introduced the very first AI podcaster, now 9000. Yes, remember that one. And the top episode of the year was Kings of Los Angeles, Difficult Decisions, and a guy named Jalen. That was episode number 181, where Stephen Leslie, Mitch Orsatti, and Hugo the Sheik, they joined me to play a game of Would You Rather, NBA edition. We talked about the Clippers' title chances and their newest addition, James Harden. Great reminder that we're not having these conversations in an echo chamber. We're part of a larger community that listens and engages, a community that spans 32 countries, apparently. It's massive. We always appreciate your top 5 contributions, your mailbag questions. You guys are a part of the show. You're the most important part of the show, the engine of this machine, the center of the high and low universe. Appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for a great 2023. It feels like I can end the episode right there. It feels like the moment is here, but I won't. We have a little bit more on this final episode of the year. So hey, we'll keep it going. And thank you for that question, Corey in Toronto. Appreciate you. Just a quick reminder to high and low lives. If you want to leave questions for us to answer on the show, just like what Corey did, you can send your DM to us on TikTok at More High and Low, or on Instagram at Get High and Low. I always put those links in the show notes. Time for us to take a quick break. When I come back, we're going to talk about where some of these players have landed, some of these players who the league doesn't want, or they don't want the league. Anyway, this is High and Low. We'll be right back.
This week in NBA history, the purple and gold were golden. On December 30th, 1971, the Lakers of Los Angeles etched their name into NBA history with a resounding 122-106 victory against the Seattle Supersonics. This triumph marked the culmination of a flawless December for the Lakers, achieving a perfect 16-0 record. Remarkably, this stellar performance was part of a larger narrative. The the Lakers' unprecedented 33-game winning streak that spanned over 2 months. The Lakers' dominance wasn't confined to December alone. It was a continuation of their triumphs from the previous month. In November of the same season, the Lakers accomplished a remarkable 14-0 record, setting the stage for the historic streak that would captivate basketball enthusiasts around the world and culminate in a championship at the end of that season. This winning streak, which remains unbroken to this day, stands as a testament to the sheer excellence and prowess of the 1971 to 1972 Lakers. The team, led by legendary figures like Jerry West, Elgin Baylor, Gail Goodrich, and Wilt Chamberlain, showcased an unparalleled level of cohesion and skill that defined an era of basketball greatness. That was a little something for the NBA history nerds. Now let's get back to the High and Low NBA show.
And we are back. I'm Ike Amaechi, and this is High and Low. Throughout NBA history, there have been over 4,400 people gifted with the privilege of wearing an NBA uniform and playing professional basketball for an NBA franchise. The average length of those careers is about 4.5 years, which means you can't play basketball in the NBA forever. Some get an opportunity to play for as long as they please. Some have their careers cut short, maybe due to injury, some unforeseen circumstance. Some make the decision to leave on their own volition, and some flame out and get the pink slip ushered out the door much sooner than expected, and they're left to figure out where they'll continue playing the game they love for any sort of money. I'm going to focus on the latter two and talk about some players who played in the league recently, and where did these former players end up? Where are they playing now? You know, what are their options when the NBA said, we don't want you anymore, or they didn't want the league? I mean, the most highly publicized scenario, of course, was Dwight Howard last year, former perennial all-star who led the Orlando Magic to the finals, one of the greatest defensive bigs of all time. Once he left Orlando, his stock just plummeted from superstar to journeyman. I think his back really started to limit his ability to perform at that level. He found himself out of the league and playing for the Taiwan Beer Leopards in the T1 League from 2022 to 2023. I mention this because DeMarcus Cousins, Boogie Cousins, he just signed with the same team this year. He'll be playing for the Beer Leopards through 2024. Last season, he played for the Mets in Puerto Rico. Now, Boogie's 33 years old. I mean, 33 is like on the cusp, but you should still have a couple good years left in you. This man was almost unstoppable in Sacramento. I can't even imagine what would have happened if he stayed healthy in New Orleans next to Anthony Davis. I mean, 33 years old. I don't know, man. Wow. He can't even get a spot at the end of a bench in the league. I know some of that is because of injury. Boogie hasn't been the same since his injury in New Orleans. He tore his ACL in Golden State, but damn, 5 teams in 4 seasons. Journeyman status. He reunited with Mike Malone in Denver in 2022, but it's been nothing ever since. It's tough.
All right, you guys, what's next?
Next up is Kemba Walker. He was a star in Charlotte, 4-time All-Star, and he left for Boston. And that was the biggest mistake of this man's life because he never got back to that level, even though he was being paid to play at that level. Kemba lasted, 2 seasons in Boston, barely lasted half a season as a Knick, and then he went to Dallas, capped it off in Dallas. Now he's in the EuroLeague, playing for AC Monaco, and he's averaging 4.3 points per game. In fact, he's playing behind Mike James, another former NBA player who averages 20 a game, and he's a star of that Monaco team. Yes, Mike James, same guy who struggled to find minutes in Phoenix, New Orleans, and Brooklyn. And hey, speaking of the EuroLeague, Serge Ibaka, he's playing for Bayern Munich this season. He's doing a lot better than Kemba. He's averaging 12 and 7. He's playing with Isaac Bonga, who was drafted by the Lakers a few years back. Played 2 seasons at DC. Wrapped things up in Toronto back in 2022. But, you know, he's German, so I get it. He's back home. Probably grew up watching the EuroLeague, so I can understand that.
All right, you guys, what's next?
Remember Matthew Dellavedova played with LeBron on those Cleveland Cavalier teams that went head-to-head with Golden State Warriors? He's playing for the NBL's Melbourne United team back in Australia for a second time, actually. Played for them a couple years back and then got the call up to Sacramento Kings. He injured his finger. He had to get surgery on his finger, and that was it. He didn't return to the Kings, and now he's back in Australia. And Frank Kaminsky, I don't know if you remember that name. He was a star out of Wisconsin, signed with Partizan Belgrade this season, another EuroLeague squad. And Kendrick Nunn, I know you know this name. If you listen to this podcast, you know Kendrick Nunn. He showed out in his first 2 seasons with the Miami Heat. Remember, he was undrafted, but he left for the Lakers, and it was all downhill. You know, you signed with the Lakers, you got to step up. You know, that's a big commitment. The spotlight is huge. It's large, a lot of pressure, and it just didn't work out. Now he's in Athens, Greece, playing for the EuroLeague's Panathinaikos, next to other former NBA players who all had brothers in the NBA, actually. Jerry and Grant. There's a kid by the name of Kostas Antetokounmpo. And then there's Juancho Hernan Gomez, who starred next to Adam Sandler and Anthony Edwards in Hustle as Bo Cruz. Remember that guy? Cruz Missile, I think that was his nickname in the movie. His brother, Willie Hernan Gomez, is also in the EuroLeague playing for Barcelona, same team that features former second overall pick Jabari Parker. Remember that guy? He averaged 20 and 6 in Milwaukee back in 2016. He was no scrub. But injuries robbed that man of a good to maybe great career in the NBA. He could barely stay healthy past the All-Star break in any given season. Tough for him. But hey, you know what? I don't want to disparage these careers and make it seem as if all former NBA players in foreign leagues are castaways. I'm not sure if you've been to Monaco, but that would be a nice situation for anyone. I would love to play professional basketball in Monaco. And the atmosphere in those arenas across the EuroLeague, honestly, man, I think they exceed the energy in many NBA arenas. So I'm not assuming these are downgrades at all. But it's notable to see where these guys have landed. Because sometimes you just don't notice. You know, there's so much happening in the league, and you just don't notice who's not on a roster anymore. It's almost like those Where Are They Now videos that feature child actors or former movie stars, and they're working at Starbucks in Boulder, Colorado or something like that. Anyway, I've tempted fate long enough. Time to get back to my holiday. I'll keep tabs on these players. Perhaps some of them make it back onto an NBA roster in the near future. I'm sure Giannis will pull some strings for his brother Kostas. And Mike James, he's balling, hooping in Monaco. Maybe someone in the NBA notices and he gets another shot, opens up that starting spot for Kemba, because Kemba needs those minutes right now. It's still incredible to see Kemba riding pine in the EuroLeague, even though it's Monaco. But hey, anyway.
Why the fuck I can't shoot 3-point shots?
That brings us to the end of this episode of High and Low. Hope you enjoyed this one. It's been a great year full of NBA highs and lows. See what I did there? Looking forward to another good one in 2024. We're on the road to 200, episode 200, with plenty of basketball and more insane storylines to speak on. Remember to subscribe to High and Low anywhere you find podcasts. Make us a part of your weekly routine. And hey, you know where to find us. We're on Instagram, we're on TikTok, we're on X, formerly known as Twitter. I don't know how much longer though. You know, X is just, it's weird. It's a weird place. Anyway, we're definitely on YouTube, so you can find us there. Links to those are on the show notes. Once again, the music you're listening to right now is by Live of the Enjoy Music Group. You can find Live on Instagram at LYVE. Additional music is by Sonny Rockwell of The Goodness. Can't find that guy anywhere. Sorry. Sound designed by Vonn August. This is a Vonn+Abrahamm podcast, just in case you didn't know. So, hey, it's been a great year. I'm Ike Amaechi. Thank you for listening to High and Low, and I'll talk to you next week.